French President Emmanuel Macron has said the Ukrainian counteroffensive has started and was meticulously planned. He made his comments at a meeting with the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and the Polish President Andrzej Duda in Paris. The three leaders are discussing ongoing support for Ukraine and are preparing for a NATO summit in Lithuania next month. The trilateral meeting is known as the Weimar Triangle. It first began in 1991 in the eastern German city of Weimar. Our correspondent Rosie Birchard is in Paris covering this story. Welcome, Rosie. I understand they have just spoken to the press. What did we learn?
Well, no surprises that it was all about Ukraine, with all three leaders pledging to keep up support for Kyiv for as long as it takes. And of course, they noted that this comes at a critical time, critical because Ukraine's counteroffensive is underway, and French President Macron said that could last for several months. But critical also because all three of these men have a big date circled in red on their calendar, and that is the NATO summit, which is coming up. All three of these two presidents and the German Chancellor will be at that summit, but Ukraine will also be invited, and Kyiv has made it clear it's coming with a wish list. It wants a roadmap toward one day joining NATO. So this, a tete-a-tete among these three leaders, France, Poland and Germany, to discuss that and discuss what might happen at that crucial summit in just a few weeks' time.
And are there still divisions over Ukraine's desire to become a member of the alliance?
There are certainly more divisions than Ukraine would like. Now, we heard, for example, from the Polish President Andrzej Duda talking about giving Ukraine its dearest wish, to give it a green light at the end of the tunnel. He said a clear vision of how it could become a member of NATO. President Macron, meanwhile, mentioned that Ukraine should perhaps be given what he called the perspectives it has a right to. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, meanwhile, made absolutely no allusion, no mention of Ukraine potentially joining NATO, and you can see perhaps some division therein lies. Now, Germany is not the only NATO member which is seen as more reticent on this front, and of course there are concerns among some NATO countries about potentially escalating this war into an even bigger conflict. So certainly some divisions there still remaining here in Paris tonight.
OK, so unlikely that Ukraine is going to get any good news about NATO membership in the next few weeks.
Well, what it will not get is a full membership. We will not see Ukraine's flag hoisted at that NATO summit. But what it might get something in between, well, that is a question that remains. Might there be some tougher language, some clearer language on when or if and how Ukraine could join NATO? Might there be some talk of security guarantees or assurances? That's something these three men mentioned here tonight. Might there be an upgrading of the format in which Ukraine and NATO officially hold talks and meeting? Now, that's all still potentially on the table. I cannot assure you, certainly cannot bet that any of it will be a sure outcome, but you can bet that Ukraine will keep lobbying towards that.
Thanks for that, Rosie. Rosie Birchard in Paris.